Yeah.
There we go.
So I'm Jean Marlowe. I'm the president of the River Oaks Neighborhood Association, and we've been around for about 14 years. And our association has won awards and recognized by various councilpersons. Kansan Chu recognized us, and the various other organizations. So anyway, I want to introduce David Cohen. He is the new council person for District 4. And so David, I'm just going to let you go ahead and start and introduce us to your staff and just take it away.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I enjoy being up here with you and virtually with the River Oaks Neighborhood Association. Obviously look forward to someday being back in the clubhouse up there and in person when we have a chance to do that. I always enjoyed visiting you there. We have a small slide presentation that I'm going to share. Actually, let me share this, and then we'll just go through this brief presentation since it has some information about what we're working on in our district office. We just started, obviously January 1st was our first day as the new council office, and we've been moving quickly to get a lot of things done for the community and to get our staff on board. And we have a staff, myself plus a staff of 6 people to serve the district. And let me see, how do I move the slides forward? Oh, here we go. Okay. So we're gonna first start with our, these are covered here. I don't know if you can see the whole thing because of the way the Zoom is laid out, but we can minimize.
No, I can see everything.
Okay, I'm gonna minimize this on mine. Okay, so we created a vision statement when we started our office, and this vision statement kind of recognizes that our goal as an office is to work with people and build a healthy community. So we start by bringing people together, focus on building relationships between the people in the district, with the idea then of building a cohesive and healthy community in District 4, with the ultimate goal of providing a sense of place for our residents where affordable housing, clean and safe neighborhoods, and economic development thrive. So that's our vision statement for the District 4 community. And we are living our core values with our ideals of listening to constituents. We want to be your champions at City Hall. And so we will be responsive and listen to your needs. We will resolve issues with speed and acumen and celebrate our community as we make strategic investments whenever possible. We believe integrity matters. We will be honest and honor our commitments and be consistent and fair. We value above all else our ability to be of service to our constituents. So we're building an office that first and foremost is a customer service driven organization. And we believe in the golden rule. We'll treat those that we deal with as we would like to be treated ourselves. And we value diversity, belonging, and inclusion, and use an equity lens to inform our decisions. So this is our team. We have, as I said, 6 people plus myself. The executive assistant, that is the person when you email the office or call, who is the first person who will respond to you or answer the phone, is Noreen Arsenas. She is comes out of industry as an executive assistant in the executive suite in some corporate offices. And it will be very responsive and friendly when she receives your call and make sure that the right people in our office get quickly are receiving the information that you send into our office. Stacy Brown is our chief of staff. She's been with me since mid-November and helped run my transition, helped us to build our vision and hire the staff. She's been my right-hand person from the beginning and has been really valuable in keeping us up and running and making sure that we're doing everything we need to do for our district. Lam Nguyen is our Director of Communications. He actually starts in our office on next Monday. He's just joining our team. He lives in District 4. He's worked in Senator Jim Bell's office and in other places in the community, and he's going to be a really valuable addition in helping us communicate with all of you. And we have three very experienced community relation coordinators and policy advisors, Alexander Latua, Hugo Jimenez, and Marley Smith. Hugo and Marley both have lived in District 4. Alexander lives just outside San Jose in Campbell. All three of them have worked in City Hall before and have worked for other elected officials and in other places in the district. Hugo is an elected member of the Berryessa School Board, and all three of them are really on the ball working on answering the constituent concerns that are coming into our office. What I love about this team, in addition to their experience, is that more than half of us actually live in District 4, which is really important because we all have a vested interest in the success of our office. And all but one of us, and Alexander lives just over the border, all but one of us actually live in San Jose. So it's a really, I think that's an unprecedented thing in City Hall, because many folks that work in City Hall don't actually live in San Jose. And I'll let each of them introduce themselves to you after I finish going through these slides, so you'll get to see them. Our first 100 days in office, we've first setting our priorities, which is going to community meetings like this, introducing ourselves, listening to all of you, and getting input and feedback. We've packed our calendar, attending briefings with city staff from all the city departments to understand what's been going on in the city and let them know what our priorities are so they can help us achieve our goals. We're completing our transition into office, onboarding all of our team members, making sure that they have the tools they need to be successful. And we're building a robust infrastructure to resolve our residents' issues. We're going to have a great system in place to handle all of the calls we get, and make sure that we don't let anything fall through the cracks, and we respond to all of the concerns of our community. And then we want to get, very soon, get quickly involved in the development of the city budget for 21-22. We want to make sure that we influence the city budget decisions to benefit District 4 residents, and also invest our own discretionary funds for the maximum benefit of our neighborhoods. So those are the things we are focused on this spring. And that's it. You know how to reach us. The email address, district4@sanjoseca.gov, and our city website, sanjoseca.gov. And you can find District 4 under the City Council link at that website. So I will now stop sharing and go back to the screen here so each of our team members can introduce themselves. I don't think that Noreen is on the call, but we'll start with Stacy, my chief of staff, and let her tell a little bit about herself. And then we'll move around the rest of the team.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. I've been living in San Jose for about the last 30 years. I transplanted here from New York. Don't hold that against me. I came here because I got an engineering degree, and this is kind of if you can make it there, you'll make it anywhere place for engineers. So I had a long career in tech. I'm a software developer, and I'm a small business owner. I started my own consulting firm, and that's essentially what I've been doing. I've been deploying software applications for tons and tons of years, but as I started a family and raised my two beautiful boys, I got very involved in the schools. And just like David, I became a trustee of my local school board. And then for some ungodly reason, after my kids graduated and went into high school, I followed them to high school. So I'm currently on the Campbell Union High School District board, and I'm halfway through my second term. And so I've been involved civically that way, and really doing a lot of driving of education policy and things like that. But getting to know David through the campaign and kind of talking about listening to his vision and what he was trying to do. I just got really excited about the idea of pivoting and taking my professional experience and my governance experience and putting it to use for the citizens of District 4. So when David talks about building out this great customer service organization, that is my primary goal and objective. And you guys let me know how we're doing, okay?
Sure.
I'll go next. Hugo Jimenez. Lived in Berryessa, District 4 for 13 years. And actually, when me and my wife, we got married and decided to, buy our own place, we specifically chose this place because it's within the Berryessa Union School District and in District 4. So obviously, I care very much about District 4, what goes on here. And I met David several years ago through work with the school district. And he's just, smartest guy I know, frankly, and I'm happy to be working for him. So, just the ability to work for him and work for my community, it's the, perfect job for me. So, and you'll be seeing me a lot, so we'll get really well acquainted.
Okay.
I'll go. My name is Marley, and I was born in San Jose, and then I was basically raised in Gilroy. I attended every garlic festival, and I even used to work at the garlic shop. But then I came back to San Jose to go to school at Cal State East Bay. I also went to Cabrillo, and I was an intern in District 5 for about a year and a half while I was in community college. And then after graduating, I went to I had some time at Waze, the navigation app. And so I tried out the private sector, and not the same. And basically every project I wanted to do kind of involved here, not globally. So I kind of realized it's where I belong. And it's much nicer to work on communities and be able to directly help people. And so I'm very happy to be on the team. It's definitely where I belong. I'm very happy, and I look forward to hearing from you all.
Okay.
I guess I'll go. My name is Lam Nguyen. I am born and raised in D4, actually. I went to Ruskin for elementary, Sierramont for middle school, and Piedmont Hills for high school. If you go to the drama room over at Piedmont Hills, you will find a mural that I painted actually in the drama room that may or may not still be there to this day. I took a pretty windy road to get back to politics. I went to the PGA Tour for a while, and I was working as a tournament director. And then, the call for public service bit me, and I started working for local advocacy groups, and eventually ended up in Senator Jim Bell's office. I'm going to be doing community service for the rest of my life, and nothing feels better. So I'm glad to be working for my home constituents in a very real way. I live smack dab in the middle of D4. I can see Murrill Middle School from my house. I'm just glad to be back, and it's great to be here. So I'm sure I'll be talking to plenty of you over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
I know you're not on mute, but for some reason your audio isn't working, Alexander.
Who is? Oh.
Yeah, it's still not working.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe you need to. Well, that's Alexander over there.
Yeah, and he's been having internet problems all week.
Oh, he needs your help.
Yeah, so we'll get that figured out in the next couple of days, hopefully this week. And I don't know if you need to disconnect and reconnect or something, or change some setting on your computer. But Alexander just graduated from San Jose State, and worked in the D5 District 5 office as an intern while a student at San Jose State. And we're happy to have him on our District 4 team. He's working on neighborhood issues, and also is going to help us coordinate neighborhood associations and work with building more associations around the district as part of his role. And so, he's another person that you'll be working with as part of our team.
Okay. So my question to all of the ladies and gentlemen, have you been up to North San Jose? And if you have you driven around to see the boundaries, how far we are up and how far it goes over to the east, to the west, and down south of San Jose? Not south of South San Jose, but the border, because it's easy to do the borders. But anyway, I was just wondering if anyone has come up here and looked around and kind of get yourself familiar with our area, because we will have issues, and I just want to make sure I'm talking to someone who kind of knows what's going on and get themselves kind of up to speed. So any of you people?
Well, I have. When I owned my consulting company, I had a lot of clients kind of along that North San Jose corridor. So, and it's changed a lot since I gave up my consulting company. But Councilmember Cohen has been taking me out on the weekends and just basically saying, yeah, you're going to hear about this thing here, and here's a thing over here that we're going to, here's a priority, and just so you understand the neighborhood. And he's taken me to some nice restaurants throughout D4. But we have definitely walked around North San Jose. I've been, as a school district trustee, I've been listening to Santa Clara Unified brag about how they're building these new schools. So it was great to go out and actually see them and understanding the attendance boundaries and all that kind of good stuff. And we went over to Orchard School and saw the whole Charrot Avenue extension situation. So now I can visualize it, and I can, understand the community's concerns about widening that and allowing more truck traffic through and stuff like that. So yeah, we've all been, speaking for myself, been all around and focusing in on D4 for the last probably 2 months.
And I used to work on Junction when I was 17. And I also used to work on an office right off of First Street, pretty close by. So I realized I was like, I'm pretty sure I used to work right there. And I was looking, I'm like, yep, I know all those restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty familiar.
Okay.
I think the thing that's most unique about this area where we are is that we are primarily apartments, condos, townhomes, and we're not a typical neighborhood in that we're not, we don't have I guess the easiest way to say it is, I don't really want to bring up the past, but I have to. It was very, very frustrating with the previous council person who would always offer us dumpsters on dumpster days when all of our complexes have dumpsters. It was a completely useless thing for us. So we're unique in that aspect. We have different needs than from, say, a neighborhood in Berryessa where it's, everyone's got their own homes. Yeah, single family homes. Yeah. Right. So, and one of the things that you will hear from me, one of the things that I am really, really pushing for, and one of the things that I will be asking you guys on advice on how to jumpstart this now, is I very much want, where the new park is going to be, a community center and a library. That's like my big thing, because all these apartment complexes and all these condos, we're all our own little community. So we're very much little tiny islands separated from one another. And so it's something that people keep thinking it's down the road, but really we need to start working on it now and plan for it now, so that I don't hear 5 years from now, we have no money for a community center, or we have no money for a library. And if you were to pop up a map of the city libraries, you will see that it's this big ring and it avoids us. If you look at all the community centers, it's this ring and it avoids us. It's everywhere but here, and we need it because we're super high density, and it's going to be even more high density. and we need to have a place for communities. I mean, right now we meet on Zoom, but normally our neighborhood association has to meet at a clubhouse of an apartment complex because we don't have a community center. And council people ago, when we had runoffs for the debates, we had to go to Santa Clara and Don Caljon to hold the debates because we don't have a place. So that's like a big push. I mean, that's what I'm focused on.
Yes, and I was having this thought yesterday and I will tell you, my team will vouch for me on this. And we're recording this, but we'll keep it secret from my friends in Berryessa, where all of us live. I'm overcompensating, I think, because I'm spending almost all of my time on policy, thinking about North San Jose and Albiso. And I think my team will attest to that, because we have a lot of a lot more needs in that part of the community. I mean, Berryessa has a lot of, day-to-day needs. I mean, there's a lot of, obviously, community concerns in their neighborhoods, just like everywhere else. But from a bigger picture policy standpoint, there's a lot of challenges in the developing part of the district, which is the northern part of the district. And so most of my conversations with the departments have been about what are they doing up in this part of the district. When we met with parks, I said, what's happening with parks in North San Jose, and what's going on with the Albiso Park, and what's going to happen with the park by the Santa Clara School. And when we met with DOT, almost all of our conversation has been about the North San Jose transportation plan and all the road issues in North San Jose, and what's going on Trimble and North First Street and Tasman, and we've had a lot of conversations about those roadways and the improvements that are coming in North San Jose. And when we met with the police department, we've talked a lot about the fact that the city's worst response time of any district in the entire city is the district that covers North San Jose and Albiso. I mean, so we are looking at this data and talking to the different departments of the city about those needs. And when Stacy and I met with the library director, I told her the same thing that I spoke with the library director about in 2004. So this was 16 years ago when the library director and I had a conversation about the fact that North San Jose is going to need a library along North First Street or Zanker somewhere. And so we are on the same page. All these department heads and I are on the same page about all these needs. And, how we get there is obviously, a question, but we all know these needs, and we're talking about creative solutions. The North San Jose Library won't look like any other library in the city. It won't be a standalone building that's built like other libraries, but it'll probably be, a first floor of one of the new developments that gets built somewhere. But it's something that I'll make sure happens in one of the buildings that we get built. And one of my big policy focuses in my first month has already been working to try to free up some of the developments that have been stalled, because those developments are going to be needed in order to get the amenities in North San Jose that have not come. And the reason those have been stalled is because of impasses with Santa Clara over some of the fights. And we've actually made a lot of progress in this first month on some of those things, and I'm very excited about what's going to be coming in North San Jose. So we're very focused on a lot of these issues in North San Jose as a team and in my office. So I just want you to be aware about that. And I've one of the first things I did with Stacy when we went around the district was I said, we have to go to North San Jose, because everyone knows what Berryessa looks like, but you need to know what North San Jose looks like. So as she said, we parked over at River Oaks, we walked up to the new school site, we walked around the park, by the North Park Apartments. I showed her, we drove down First Street and up Zanker and around Albiso, and we looked at some of the things so I could say to her, you're going to hear about this, like she said, and these are the locations of all these things. And all of us know River Oaks because we've all eaten at Hobie's, but, and my chiropractor's there. I go there all the time. So the River Oaks community. So, but
I have a quick question. So when you say that there will be a library in a new development, are you talking about like in an apartment complex that gets?
Well, I'm saying that my plan, I mean, this isn't planned yet. This isn't, okay. I'm just saying my thought process is, the San Jose, the way they used to build libraries is they would buy a piece of property, they would spend $10 million and they'd build a standalone building that would be a library. That's unlikely to happen in North San Jose. There's no they're not going to buy a piece of property and they're not going to build a separate library. What's likely to happen is the city would make an arrangement with some developer who builds a new building, that part of that building would be set aside as a library. So the public library would be in a new building that gets built in the North
So
San Jose
why,
plan.
so why would you not consider doing it in the 25-acre park that we're going to have right next to the school?
I mean, it's a possibility, but I
Okay.
mean, well, there's two reasons for that. One is the cost of building a new building versus having it be part of a development where the developer is paying for the construction of the building. So there
Okay.
is a cost issue.
Right.
And secondly,
so-
I'm not sure that we have to discuss whether we'd want to take some of the land out in terms of the park space.
right,
You know, if you do that, you don't have as much park. So I mean,
right.
I suppose we can discuss that, but I'm not convinced that that's where
So-
we'd want the library. I just don't know.
Okay, so I will just say that in my mind, it would have been a library community center combination type of thing that you would be having
That you have at Berryessa.
two things.
Rooms.
Well, more like
Yeah.
the one that's,
Oh.
I think, on Bascom. Bascom, I think, is a community center
Bascom and
library.
Almaden are the two that have a library community center combination.
Yeah, something that's like a dual purpose. And if we have that park, you would think that a community center being part of the Parks Department where they can have classes that are Parks and Rec classes. Something like what they have in, Sunnyvale, or, they have those classes that are part of I think, doesn't Berryessa have classes in their community center? Part
Yeah,
of Parks
yeah.
and Rec? Yeah,
What
same
about-
thing.
Rivermark's.
No, that's just a library. That's not a library community center.
Okay.
But, I was
Yeah.
thinking in dual purpose terms like that.
Yeah, I mean, again,
The city's
there's a
already-
question of funding, and I mean, there's no bond currently to build a
What is the
standalone,
possibility of having the Santa Clara County Library? Do you know? I mean, what is that? If the city library is not able to, what about the county?
Well, I mean, again, that's a different jurisdictional question. But I mean, these are all things we should be. I mean,
Okay.
we can think about this. I mean, it's good to get your input about what you think is the right location. What I was thinking about was, given the density development that will be happening along the light rail line along North First Street, that's where there will be a lot of residents looking for library and community center services. But we'll
Yeah.
this is none of this is just in
No,
my
I
mind.
know, I
None of
know.
this has been planned. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like this is anything in the works.
No,
I'm
of
just
course
telling
not.
you, these are conversations I've had.
Right,
And they're only in the very early talk stages. So there's no.
right. Well,
there's
then
no-
this is why I'm asking about this, because if it's something where a bond is proposed, we have
Yeah.
to do it early as opposed to last minute. Because, with the, what is it,
So-
32,000 other people that are supposed to be coming into this area, not people, I should say
Just units.
units, not people,
Yeah,
but,
if you can even get
Yeah.
32,000 units.
But I think in terms of how do we plan for 10 years down the road as opposed to, just the next 4 is what so that's the sort of thing that I'm trying to figure out who to talk to, how to go, where do you start this push, because we're just one neighborhood group.
Yeah, yeah. And when I said bond, by the way, both the parks and both the community centers and the library, parks and library had bonds that were citywide for upgrading libraries and parks.
Right.
And both of those are at the end of their life. And so there's a question as to whether the city would try to get a new bond citywide. And in other words, that bond would be used for potentially a new library. There is no more bond money left to build new
Right.
libraries. That's been spent. Right.
Yeah, see,
And as Dick knows, the Albiso Library was not upgraded in the last bond. So that's a library that would be due for an upgrade if there was a new
Right.
bond, for example.
right. Yeah,
So-
because, the city's got that 22 acres is just sitting there. And so it makes sense for them to, I've always thought of it being a world-class park and a community center. And because, North San Jose is supposed to be world-class, and the school is supposed to be world-class. And so, it's something that they have planned a long time ago. So we just don't want to be,
Mhm.
something thrown at us and that's it. It's something that needs to be something unique. They have a
Yeah.
chance to make it unique.
Well, my first priority is making sure that the park gets built. So let's.
The park? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we know from the history of the city that often there's
Yeah.
land set aside for a park and it takes a decade before the park
Right.
actually gets built.
Yeah,
So
true.
you know,
It's
Yeah.
usually just a piece of dirt and they say, well, we have no requirement to do anything. I know.
So we're making sure that those kinds of projects don't get dropped.
So is the park something that you think will actually be done before 10 years time, or, I mean, is it?
It's on our list of things to keep an eye on. I mean, we're early. I mean, again, we're in the first month. We're working with these departments. That's one of the things on our list. It's not, I'm not ready to say what the city's telling us yet. We have a meeting, in fact, I don't know if it's next week or the week after, with the Park and Rec capital budget folks to tell us what everything's planned for the district and to tell them what our priorities are.
Okay.
We'll find out more as we move along in our term.
Okay.
But my point of my discussion was just to say we are definitely knowledgeable and aware of the needs in the community and are talking with all the departments about those things.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, we've got go ahead.
No, it's okay.
We've got a couple projects that are being proposed on Sealy, and one of the parcel is already in escrow, which is the fruit farm, and then the other one beside it is they may have already accepted an offer. So those guys are going to be doing apartments. And so that's something that you might need to be aware. Now, usually if somebody comes in and talks to you, a developer, they usually say, well, talk to RONA because we have a lot of input and we'd like to have that conversation started early on as to what the neighbors or in our area would like to see there. You know, we don't want to see 11-story towers.
Right. So, first of all, I just want to tell you that I am personally an instant gratification takes too long kind of person. Always have been, always will be. Yet I've been a school district trustee for 10 years. And that basically balances out that instant gratification piece of that. So, everything that David's talking about, what we're coming in and discovering are, what are the wheels, what are the cogs that need to get greased to get the momentum going to start executing on these things. And when it comes to developers and development, kind of inside baseball is that the council member, kind of gives them the direction in terms of, no, 11 stories is too big for this part of town, and that kind of stuff. And also gives them the direction of, this is the kind of community outreach that we're going to want to see. We're going to want to make sure that you really are out there listening to the community and that it's showing up in your plans and things like that. And so, I live in District 9, and they're just starting to, build, what do you call them? The urban village, the mixed use development out there, because it's very suburban out there.
Right.
And our council member has been very, very strong. Our former council member and our current council member has been very, very strong about really dictating to the developer. You better make sure that you're taking in and, don't ignore the residents, because what they say really matters. So, that's kind of I think that's how you guys get to engage in all of this stuff. I don't want to speak for David, but
that's your job, is to speak for me.
Okay, so speaking for David,
Okay.
we believe very strongly in that. Developers that do really good outreach are going to get a lot of cooperations. Developers that don't are going to get redirected to go and make sure that everybody's been heard.
Right.
But just so you know that the big Sage project on that site on Sealy is probably not going to happen. So don't worry about them.
Okay.
That was like a pie in the sky plan.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, no, we
Yeah.
know about that.
Okay,
No,
okay.
no,
Yeah.
we knew that.
Yeah.
We knew that at the time.
I was there at your meeting when they presented that. And I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah.
are you
Yes,
kidding
yes.
me?
Yes, no,
Okay.
no. I mean, just logistically, road-wise, it was not possible.
Oh, yeah,
There was
yeah.
no way you could take the Santana Row and multiply it by 4, but put it on 1/4 of the land size and one road. There's just no way, because a fire would be a horrific tragedy. There's just no way. You couldn't handle the traffic alone on a 2-lane road.
Yeah, Alexander, you want to try your audio again?
Let's see, can you guys hear me now?
Oh, yeah, it's working.
Yes.
now.
All right,
yeah.
awesome. Great.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. So like David said earlier, like the councilman said earlier in the meeting, I do live right across the border in Campbell. But I was born in Santa Clara County, grown up here all my life. Love living here, always loved San Jose. I worked previously in City Hall over in District 8, and I've also interned for Senator Jim Bell. So I've had a lot of opportunities to really get to know what it's like to be at the ground level of the community and serving the community. So I'm really excited to bring that to D4, and I'm really looking forward to working with you and some of the other neighborhood associations.
That's
And I'm
great.
glad you got to speak because I misspoke and said you worked in District 5 when you really worked in District 8. So you got to clear that up. I have trouble keeping track of everybody's history. So
A little further down south, yeah.
yeah.
So I think there are people who may want to ask some other questions. So I guess just go ahead and
Jump in.
and hopefully we won't cross over each other.
We can take other questions.
Yeah, anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, Doctor, I'm sorry, Mr. Cohen. My name is Jocelyn Chan, and I lived here in the North San Jose for the last 20 years, and I'm a Berryessa native. Grew up there. My whole clan is there. The whole big Filipino community is out there. My question is this: since I've lived here in a pretty nice community, when I bought my place, we used to have a lot of beautiful trees, and it used to be so super clean. But as the community grew, I've noticed there's some deterioration in the quality of life, especially when you get apartments, you get cars all over the place, garbage stacking up, especially and smokers, a lot of smokers. My question is that I've raised the anti-smoking outdoor smoking laws to your predecessor, and he did nothing. And I don't know if you're aware that we have a very weak smoking law in the city. We are allowed to smoke inside the complexes or inside your home, but not allowed to smoke outdoors. So I would like to see a stronger anti-smoking law where if for multi-housing units, apartments, condos, and townhouse, that you cannot smoke inside your home and on the balconies. And it really is affecting the health of everybody here when every time somebody passes by, people would be smoking right there on the corners or right in the middle of the street, or they would be walking and smoking, and we would be following right next to them, and all these children and older people and coughing right next to them, and they don't care. And it's really so hard during this COVID-19 with our mask on, and we still can't breathe fresh air. So I just want to make you aware that if somehow you could talk to the council about having to establish a stronger smoking law to prohibit indoor smoking in all multi-housing units.
Hey, well, I mean, it's an issue that we can discuss with some of my colleagues and see where people stand on it and what the other people's thoughts are, and we'll definitely, give it some consideration and see what the current policies are and what room there is to strengthen them.
Yeah, and I will share with you that there is some work being done right now on an ordinance to actually ban flavored tobacco and vapes in San Jose. And so, and I don't know the timing of it yet, but that's something that I think you'll see us lead on as well.
The ban is great, but it doesn't prevent a singular person in vaping in balcony in their
Understood.
private homes, right?
Yeah.
And what really piques me too, aside from the smoking, you see all these cigarette butts piling up in the streets. You know, it's just pure ugly. It's just it seeps into our sewage system and into the water, and it's killing all our trees. So I know Santa Clara has the same anti-smoking ordinances, and I did do my research, and it seems like San Jose, the city of San Jose, is the only city in the county that pretty much does not prohibit smoking indoors.
So
Interesting.
could you send that to me?
Sure.
And we'll see what we can work in with the new tobacco ordinances.
Sure. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Gene, if you don't mind.
Sure, sure,
Nick
go ahead.
Santos. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you. First of all, thank you, David, and thank you, Gene, for having this meeting. It's always very helpful to be able to communicate and just talk about issues that we all like. I had a chance to see David and his team here just recently at Penitencia, and makes me feel good already because when I call the office, you get a recording, but you get somebody that calls you back. So things are going in the right direction. I already have had long conversations with the council member, and I've written him some long letters and emails. And so he needs opportunity like everyone else. He's getting his feet wet. But he has the enthusiasm. So I'm really excited about this next four. I think we're going to do a good job. There's no question. It's better than what we had for sure. And so I'm really excited. I had a chance I've seen Miss Brown. I don't know her well. I've seen Alexander. I've seen Miss Smith. But Hugo, at the school, I endorsed him, and he endorsed me when he was there at the school. So it's good to see Hugo, and I'm really encouraged by a hometown guy doing real well. It's exciting. But going back to just real quick, when President Gene Marlowe brings up the library, I would just I know what David is saying. If you want to get something faster, it would probably be the best way what he is suggesting. But let's go back to the North First Street Task Force. And Jean was there, I was there, and she asked for those things then. You have a partnership there with the Santa Clara Unified School District, and the city of San Jose owned that property jointly. So there is a connection, and I think we should keep that, not on the back burner, but keep it up front because you have Unified School Trustees. We have our new council person, and I think she has a great idea. A community center and library can be done there, and jointly with the school. Right. But I understand what David is saying. Money-wise, there's a challenge. There always going to be. But let's go back now for the last 10 years. This was brought up early before that school was built, and we've had those discussions. So it's not taking sides. It's just being truthful. And I think, David, we might be able to, all of us, pull together and maybe work with the school trustees and, council people and mayors and everyone else get together with the neighborhoods and see if we can do something. But other than that, David, thanks for being here and communicating with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We look forward to fruitful partnerships, and I think we'll get a lot done.
Sure.
And for all of you too, you probably might have seen we have our first town hall meeting, although this is kind of a town hall meeting too, but we have a town hall meeting Saturday morning. You'll see some of the same information. We'll do a short presentation and then open it up to questions, but there'll be a lot more people there. So this was a better chance for you to ask questions more personally because you might not have as much time to to get your questions in on Saturday.
Can you email us the information so that we can put it on our website for Saturday?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, you may, I don't know if you've been getting our newsletters yet or not. But
she may get them, but then I have to remind her to tell me, so because I'm the one who does the website.
We'll make sure that you we make sure that you
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we
I
can
have
put
a
it in.
question, you know, one of the things that we've been wanting, because these schools are coming in. One of the things that we have been asking for is a stop sign, a 3-way stop intersection for Research and River Oaks. Currently you stop on Research, but River Oaks is on a curve. And by the time people are coming from Montague up towards, I'll say Cisco Way, like they're heading that way on River Oaks, they're picking up good speed coming around that corner. Coming the opposite direction, not so much, because there's a stoplight at the corner of Cisco and River Oaks. But coming from this direction, they're picking up speed. And in order to see them around the corner, you actually have, you stop your car at stop sign, but then you have to move your car over the crosswalk and partially into the intersection to make sure that you can see the cars coming around the curve.
Yeah.
And so it's, I feel, a dangerous intersection. We have a lot of walkers, and probably not as many now because of COVID, but we typically have a ton of walkers, especially at night. And we have street lights that are high, and they're street lights. They're not sidewalk night lights. So it's something else that I also wished we had, because we have a lot of trees in our along River Oaks. So the street lights, while they may do a job of illuminating the actual street, because the lights are down the center of the median, they do nothing for lighting up sidewalks or the actual parts where you may step off a curb and start to, you know, enter into an intersection. So a stop sign would be great there, you know, along at Research. And then of course, you know, the street lights would be nice too. I think I've seen them on I think Capitol Expressway. Yeah. There's like acres and well, I won't say acres, I'll say miles of, you know, there's the light for the street, and then there's a lower light for the sidewalk. And it's like, I think it fronts an airport. It's, you know, a little airport there. There's no shops, there's no houses, but they've got tons of lights. And so that's another ask that, you know, we would like to make the neighborhood safer, especially since we will be having people walking to school. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Can you tell me the intersection again? Research?
Yeah, I got it. Research and
River Oaks.
Research and River Oaks.
River Oaks.
We'll add it to our list. When we talk, what we've insisted is monthly meetings with the Department of Transportation, so that we can bring up any of these issues and let them, they do a study about what's appropriate. And you know, we like to mention all the, because we get calls about dozens of streets a week, you know, around the district.
Right.
And we know they're all problems, but we ask the Transportation Department to look into them and help us evaluate.
We don't want to cut down our trees. We love our trees, but unfortunately, you know, when they switched to using the LED lights, it changed the way the brightness underneath the trees. And the I mean, we do need, at the same time, because we have units that are so close to the sidewalk, you don't want these bright lights at night that are keeping people awake, because that's also a problem, because the units are very close to the sidewalks. But something needs to be done so that it is a little bit safer. And I guess at the intersections is really where you want to have the most safety, you know, for people crossing and.
Yeah.
So normally I would have for guest speakers, the DOT, that would be for 1 month. So we would be caught up on what's going on and our issues, and then maybe meet with them as we have in the past to walk the streets to let them know, for instance, the Research and River Oaks. And then we also would have parks come out and sit and talk with them. But because we have COVID and we do Zoom, you know, it's just not that, it's important, but it's not that important to have these people. And I'm glad that you're meeting with them. So if you have any meetings with them, could you email back or do a little short summary of your meeting, so that we're caught up as to, you know, what is going on in North San Jose?
Yeah, and I'm hoping that in a couple of months we'll have an update of the overall. There's going to be a multimodal transportation plan for the Tasman area in North San Jose. I think they call it Tasman area, but it'll include your area, I believe. I mean, it's the big area around, they call it the Tasman area. Because there's
What Tasman area? Can you explain which part?
well, I mean, there is going to be a plan for something like, and I don't want to give numbers yet, but millions of dollars worth of transportation improvements in the area around the Tasman corridor.
Yeah,
Which I
Okay.
think will come south down the light rail corridor as well.
right. They talked to us.
Does that
And-
include the overpass, the flyover that they want to put in?
No.
Well, let me just say that the flyover project is part of the discussion, but when the time comes, there will be I would love to share with you, and I'm hoping in a couple
Okay.
months there will be a public plan
Okay.
that I can share with you more details of what they have in mind. And the
Okay.
details might not, I mean, it might take a year or two before they know all the details, but I think there'll be some interesting, there's a lot of thoughts about, improving light rail timing and crossing, and maybe even building, they're even talking about, grade separation for light rail in certain intersections, and a lot of real good upgrades that would help traffic flow and a lot of things in that whole area that I think will be great once they've finalized things. So, and that's with shared cost between Santa Clara and San Jose to upgrade that whole area.
Right.
So I'm just saying, once that happens, it might be great to have them come and present it to you, and even whether it's over Zoom or maybe by the time that's
Yeah.
ready, it'll be time to do it in person again.
Right. Yeah,
So
that,
we're having these conversations with them regularly, and I believe that it'll be in the next few months we can actually start to talk about it.
okay, sounds great.
Robin knows what I'm talking about, right, Robin?
Okay. So anybody else have any questions? Marcel and I don't want to dominate, I feel,
I got my list.
yeah,
Did you get through it?
yeah.
Yeah, actually, I had on here what was happening with the Trimble exchange, and it kind of came up.
Well, Gene, I'd like to say, I would like to ask that, I've offered David and his staff anytime a tour, because I like to see, when you see Alviso or you see North First Street, see it through my eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
People like Marla and myself who've been there for years. I've worked it, I've picked fruit there, I've done everything. So you have your own opinions, but see it through the people who live there. It can give you a better overview. So
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Dick,
so-
we want to see that pole on State Street.
Yeah, so I just want to share with you guys
One
that
of many things.
And
Yeah,
no,
no,
we're just
we've-
joking. I mean, we know, but we're ready for you to show us some things. In that.
yeah, we've gone through your letter, Mr. Santos, the whole staff. We've been kind of going through it.
Well,
and
it's
trying to-
54 years of heartache, and so
I
and
got
know
it.
You can't do it overnight, but David's been a good listener, and Ms. Brown, I'm looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, so what we were thinking, and I don't know what the timing for this is going to be, because we're kind of, we're just so close to turning the corner, but we really do want to come out and, I think we've got some things identified that we think that we can, move faster than other things, and have you show us those things. And yeah, I want to see the light pole, because I Google Earthed it, and so did Marley, and we were doing it together kind of thing. We're like, is that
I'm going to
it?
show you many things you have never seen, but thank you for the response. Thank you.
So will we have I would like to see another task force, North San Jose task force, to update the neighbors and the people that's on the task force. I like to see that started again, so we're all on the same page and there's not going to be any surprises. As
Oops, sorry.
far as what what the city expects. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry, had to move.
You can sit over there.
Okay. So will there be another North San Jose task force?
We'll write that down, Stacy. We'll talk
I
to the
got it.
mayor. We'll talk to the mayor about that. I mean, we don't know exactly what the plan is, but maybe
Yeah,
we'll see what.
It started with the redevelopment agency.
We do know that there's a plan to revisit the whole North San Jose plan. I just don't know about how they're structuring as far as a task force and who's going to be involved in that plan, but we'll we know that that's coming. I don't know exactly how it's being structured at this point.
They
Yeah, I
might call
know-
it something else.
Yeah.
I know Ramus wants to do away with the four phases, but I feel it's important because when the first phase started in North San Jose, most of the apartments were built on River Oaks, and it was really a headache. The dust, the road was torn up, the lights from the tall poles started falling down, and so it's easier when you have it in phases, and we can all kind of, take a little breather between the next phase. If you have the two phases combined, then you've got 16,000 units coming in up here, and it's just a small little area. Our streets are, we're not that huge. And so,
Well, I think River Oaks is built out, so it's likely not to be at River Oaks again. I think but anyway, you're right. I mean, I don't know exactly how it's going to be structured in the next round, but most of the development now will be along that first street, the light rail corridor and First Street
right.
in the next round, right?
But most of that land is office. A lot of trust and investment companies are investing in the buildings and really making them very nice and spending a lot of money. So I just don't see where somebody will come in and tear that down and and put residential there. I really don't. I don't think it was planned right from the beginning. And therefore, I don't know if we can even get 32,000 units up here. I really don't.
There's not enough open space right now. So we're having that conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well,
anybody else? Enan, do you have any questions? Enan? Oh, Paul, do you have any questions?
No, I'm all good, Jean. Thanks again. Thanks for organizing, and thanks for David and his team for presenting. It sounds positive for the community.
It does. It sounds very good. So, and excuse me. Oh, yeah. Do you have any questions?
No, I just have a comment. Yeah, thanks very much, David, for having this meeting. We look forward to working with your team. I'm the president of Millbrook Homeowners Association here, and we're working on an issue right now that we're trying to get Parks and Rec to do some clear up for fire prevention. So if we have any issues with that, I may be reaching out.
Okay. And I think if I remember correctly, I don't know exactly what day was that. There's a Vista Montana park cleanup coming. Do you remember? Did any of the team remember which day? End of February, there was like a parks cleanup at Vista Montana. I think it was February 23rd, maybe, or February. Anyway, we can let you know that they're having a community outdoor parks cleanup on Vista Montana. Maybe it's at the park where the soccer field is or something.
Yeah, it might be.
So I know that they're coming up to do one of the park. They're going around the city and doing some cleanups, and that's coming to this area.
Well, I know that I keep in touch. I used to keep in touch with Angel from the Parks Department. He's now with another, I don't know, he's a manager or someplace.
He's deputy city manager, so he has the whole ball game.
Yeah, and so I would always talk with him about cleaning up River Oaks Park and making sure the shrubberies are cut so you can see through the park. And so I haven't been out there, but I know that it didn't start out to be a dog park, but now there's a lot of dogs there. So that I like to see maybe less dogs, but I'm not a dog owner. So less dogs is fine with me. And I worry about the children walking on the grass and that sort of thing, and maybe, not walk on clean grass. But anyway, I have one other thing I do want to say, and that is we need a community garden. And I know that a lot of people up here do like to have something So that's going to be something that I will be addressing down the line when one of these new, it'd be on Sealy, off of Sealy, right across the street from the Iris Chan Park. There's another little 2.5 acres. This, when we did our North San Jose, when we were on the North San Jose task force, they were looking for 5 acres at the time, and because the green, I think it was green print or green space, I think it was green print. We were supposed to have, like, for every 1,000 homes, it would be 5 acres. So that's how our Chan Park, half of it got built. The other half would be like a mirror image behind the Cadence site. So if you guys get a chance, maybe take a drive out there and kind of visualize a community garden with, you know, kids, little playground for the kids. But I know the city of Santa Clara has a real beautiful one that's on Santa Tomas and Moreau. I don't know. I think somebody in your group.
It's the Eddie Souza Park.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yep.
Oh, okay. And it's a community gardens. It's right out there on Santa Tomas. You can see it as you drive by. It's really nice. So we'd like to have something like that. We just
Santa
like to have.
Tomas and Monroe.
Excuse me?
It's Santa Tomas and Monroe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's in Santa Clara, but I understand. So you're talking about there's a site identified already on Sealy by Iris Chang Park that they were talking about putting community gardens.
Right. We were supposed to have 5 acres there. It was behind the apartment that's already there.
Behind Epic.
Yeah, there's already 2.5 acres. Now the other half was supposed to be 2.5 acres to make it a 5 acre, because you're going to have, if those 2 parcels are come in before the city for entitlements, you're going to have about 1,000 units there. So you need to have a park to finish up, to round it off, to make it a 5 acres in that area. Now, if you go up to Bay Point, they too were supposed to have a 5 acre park because of the over 1,000 units there. And half of it is, the city owns half, about 2.5. The other half is, I believe, is owned by Periarga, that group. And I guess the city's had a very difficult time trying to buy that, but that's supposed to be a 5 acre site also for all those apartments. I mean, if you're going to have all these apartments, you got to have some open space for the people and for the children. So I just thought I'd let you know that's the history of Bay Point area of the 5 acre site that has already been identified, and then our area on Sealy is 5 acres that has already been identified, and then we have our River Oaks Park, which is already 5 acres. So those were the major parks.
Okay, good. Thanks for letting us know.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the time
you.
tonight.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Didn't mean to talk so much.
That's all right. It was a good conversation. I appreciate the input.
Have a great night.
We've got your wish list.
Okay. Thank you.
Good
All right.
night.
And
Night.
if you can, don't forget to send the recording over to us so that we can put it on our RONA site.
Yeah, I'll figure out how to share it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.